were to disappear, would the world change? If yes, you're useful. Are people depending on you for something? If yes, you're useful. So if kids are doing errands for the family, they're useful. But as childhood changed from a mix of things to just consuming content, if that's all you do, and 5 hours a day is the average for social media, 8 to 10 on devices, not counting school. If all you're doing is you're just consuming content, you are useless. Now, what's happening? The chance to have a job where you actually do something for people, it used to be if you work in a store, at least you're helping people buy something and you might talk to them. And now you're just there watching as they use the machine. The more technology makes things easy and cheap by replacing people, the more people will feel my job is I don't have a job, it's just consume content. The AI guys tell us, such abundance. Oh my God, it's going to be such abundance. No one will have to work. We'll give everyone UBI. We'll give everybody, universal basic income. That is hell on earth. What's going to happen? Certainly most of the boys, it's just going to be video games, porn, and gambling. So if you simply give people money to do nothing, you guaranteed they're going to feel useless. And then the suicide rate will continue to go up. So this is the world that the AI guys are taking us to, a world in which there's nothing left for people to do. They say that they will give up some of their trillions and somehow let it be taxed or diverted as UBI, but that's never happened before, so it's not likely to happen in this case. So again, I don't know what to do, but we've got to start showing that we can do something, and we've got to be talking about this, and we can't be welcoming AI in everywhere. We've got to be wary and vigilant. Yes, there are some uses, but Silicon Valley has tricked us so many times and enshittified so many of the apps that we use. We have to expect that the same is going to happen with our beloved chatbots and our beloved ChatGPT.
This graph on page 195 of your book, which is titled Life Often Feels Meaningless, and it's the graph you mentioned, I'll throw it up on the screen, is shocking. Shocking just to look at. Suddenly there's this huge spike in meaninglessness amongst high school seniors. Mm-hmm. What is it to live a meaningful life? What does that mean?
So my first book, The Happiness Hypothesis, addresses that question very directly. And the first hypothesis you might have about happiness is it comes from getting what you want. You set out a goal, you get your goal, you're happy. It's very short-lived. You're happy very briefly, and then you're on to the next thing. The more sophisticated happiness hypothesis is that happiness comes from within. And this is what the ancients tell us, East and West, Buddhist, Stoic. Don't try to make the world conform. You change yourself, accept the world the way it is. That's better. But the conclusion I came to as a modern social psychologist working in positive psychology was that the best way to say it is that happiness comes from between. What I mean by that is humans evolved as almost hivish creatures. We evolved in intensely social groups, never being alone, lots of gossip, lots of conflict, always intensely social. And modernity has made it possible for us to not live that way. We've come apart. There are many advantages to that, but we feel we're missing something. We're lonely. We feel something is not right. And so the conclusion I came to is that happiness comes, a sense of a full, satisfying, meaningful life comes when you get three betweens right. The relationship between yourself and others, love broadly speaking, not just romantic, but friends, family, yourself and your work. That as humans need to be productive. We need to be doing something that matters, that affects other people. And the relationship between you and something larger than yourself. We need to be part of something that endures, that part of a tradition, we can look to a future. What I do matters for this group or this mission, or me as an academic. I feel like I'm connected all the way back to Plato, and I hope all the way forward in time to future psychologists and future scholars. So if you get those three right, then you will be as happy as you can be. You'll be as happy as your genes and childhood allow you to be. And when you put it that way, what we can see is social media and AI interfere with all three. So relationship between yourself and others, social media gives you lots and lots of shallow relationships, which blocks out. You don't have time for your real people. So the technology is blocking relation between ourselves and others and taking it over. Ourself and our work is going to be taken over by the machines, and it's already becoming more soulless and isolated. And then yourself and something larger than yourself. Humans have to live in a moral matrix. We co-create a set of meanings and traditions. We need a sense of history of who we are, where we came from. All that's getting shredded. Everything is just little bits. People don't read books. Imagine if all of the accumulated wisdom of humanity in books is just gone, Nobody's going to read, young people are not reading books. It's very hard for them to read a book now because of the attention. So if we lose a sense of history, if we lose an ability to co-construct reality, then it'll be hard to imagine anything that we're connected to larger than ourselves. So I am a techno-determinist in the sense that I think it doesn't determine everything, but you have to start with the technology because that changes the ground upon which we live, the zone in which we're trying to construct meaningful lives. Start with that, and then you can see what the obstacles are. And that's why I take a much more intemperate, I guess. I'll accept the word. Because I think we don't have much time here. We have to reclaim life in the real world for our kids and for ourselves. There is no way to find a happy, meaningful life if we make the full transition to the online AI robot world.
And what, in your perspective, is a meaningful life? And how does it differ from Jonathan's?
I loved Jonathan's description. It was so beautiful. I have given a prescription to patients of what creates a meaningful life, and it is to live a lifetime in a day. And so that sounds like this big thing, but all it is that, when you start your day, think about 5 things that you can do in your day to create an arc of a long and meaningful life in one day. So what does that mean? Spend a little bit of time in childhood. So in wonder and play, even if it's for a few minutes, do something that brings you joy for joy's sake. Spend a little bit of time in work. We all know what that is. And for most of us, it's a lot of time. But it doesn't have to be paid work, but just something that helps you feel a sense of productivity, agency, that I can do difficult things and I can overcome. Spend a few minutes in solitude. Very important for all of the reasons that we've talked about today. Spend some time in community, so engaging with others. And then spend some time in retirement or in reflection. Really taking stock of your day. So at the end of the day, when you're going to bed and you're putting your head on your pillow, you can say, okay, yes, I lived a meaningful life. I did all of those things. And so if you do a little bit of that every day, you can make a difference.